Hey guys, you might be asking yourself two questions right now. The first one is, why am I speaking English? And the simple answer to that question is, case modding is not a really big thing in Germany, where I live. It's just a bigger thing all around the world where people just understand English and don't understand German, so I'm speaking English for this video. And the second question you might be asking yourself is, why is there such a full desk of PC parts? And the simple reason for that one is, there's my old PC right now on the desk, and also the new PC with its parts and case and shit, and also the mass of fans and radiators and shit for the water cooling system I'm gonna be putting into the system, because I want to get a little bit more coolant efficiency out of my PC instead of heating up the graphics card and CPU too much, so it goes onto the durability so they don't live that long. Because graphics card and also CPUs are not that cheap, so I want to keep them for as long as I can. Now, getting to the parts from my new PC, there will be actually quite many parts recycled from my old one. For example, the CPU, which is an i7-4790K from Intel. It's a really good processor from the Haswell generation. It's quite old, but it's still creeping up with the good all new ones. And yeah, it's sitting on a motherboard from Asus right now. It's a Z97A with 16GB of RAM right now, which will be upgraded to 32GB of RAM. Now, the biggest thing changing in the system, I think, is the graphics card. Now, I had a normal Gigabyte AIO water-cooled 980 before, which I sold on eBay for 260 euros and got for myself an EVJ 980 Ti one with 2GB more video RAM and also a water cooler already installed on the GPU from EK, which saved me quite a lot of money then, for just 321 euros. Now, I actually took off all the thermal pads and thermal paste on a graphics card, which wasn't necessary, but I still did it just to be sure that there was no mistake on the graphics card done while building in the water cooler on, so I could just build into my system without any fears. Now, also big thing changing in this system is the case, because before I had a stock Thermaltake Shark case which I modified to fit my own needs. Just painted in black on the inside because it was just raw aluminium peeking out, and also I put a side panel window on it. But the problem is, when you're painting aluminium, the paint just starts chipping off because it just starts oxidizing when there's air trapped under there. The paint just flatters off, and yeah, that wasn't that good, so I got myself the 750D from Corsair from the Obsidian series. And I'm quite happy with that case. I also did some modifications to it, for example, the backplate for the motherboard with white acrylic, and also the PSU cover out of white acrylic which will be actually lit through by LEDs. But to that I'm going to be saying something later. And yeah, it has also great water cooling support for up to one 360 radiator, and it depends on what you need. You can rather put a 280mm radiator in the front, or one 240mm in the front and one 240mm in the bottom, so that's what I actually did to get some more radiator space out of it. And yeah, also I'm gonna be keeping the power supply, which was on Seasonic X series, 650 watts. Yeah, that's totally fine for that build because the 980 Ti is not that power hungry that it would need any bigger power supply, because bigger power supplies would just keep on crashing because it would not consume enough energy for it to actually think, yes, the system is running, I'm gonna keep up my work. They will actually just start shutting down, which I had the problem before with my 980. And yeah, that's about it for the normal parts of the PC. Now we're gonna get into the water cooling parts. Now, when it comes to the water cooling parts, I actually just got all the parts on eBay because it's just a lot cheaper than normal water cooling. It's just more affordable for a normal person and student than it would be just to buy everything new, because, for example, the pump would have cost me about 250 euros with the pump reservoir combo from Thermaltake I wanted to get, and I only paid 60 euros on it for eBay because there were some screws missing which I just reordered. on a screw retailer where I actually also got radiator screws for my radiator, where I'm going to be speaking about them later. But yeah, the reservoir combo is actually a D5 combo, which is actually quite good, but the reservoir is quite small itself, so it just fits into my case quite nicely. And yeah, when it comes to the fans, I got 7 of the EK Vardar fans, which are specialized for high static pressure, which you need on radiators. The negative thing though is they're not that silent as, for example, some Be Quiet Silent Wings or something, because they put more pressure into it and air just crushes against the radiator and creates some noise there. The murder noise of the radiators itself is just so silent you can't even hear it. And yeah, I also bought the fittings on eBay because they were a lot cheaper than would have cost me normally, because all the fittings that are in there, all the monsoon fittings are 90 degrees, 45 degrees, and also normal fittings just like that. They came with some new O-rings as well, so I just changed all the O-rings so it would have been safe if there would be any leaks in there. I knew it was not the O-rings on that, it was maybe just an angle that was quite damaged, because that's also the risk when you're buying used parts. You can also get damaged parts, and yeah. The fittings would have normally cost me about 250 to 300 euros, it depends on what retailer you pick to buy them. But I just paid 50 euros for them on the auction on eBay, so that's quite a bargain I got there. Now, when it comes to the screws I got for the radiators, I ordered them at a screw retailer as well with the Thermaltake screws I needed. I just measured them, ordered them, and yeah, they also came in black, so I paid for 100 screws I needed for the radiator. I just paid 5 euros, and I would have paid that much money for just 10 normal radiator screws, which would have come with the normal radiators. But because I bought the radiators as well on eBay, because they were cheaper as the normal ones that would have been new, because I got myself an Alpha Cool radiator, which was not branded as Alpha Cool there, because it was ripped out of an Be Quiet Silent Loop. I just got it for 50 euros instead of 80 new. And the 240 radiators I got was quite a bargain. I traded them down to about 50 euros for the radiators, 2 of them. So each radiator cost me about 25 euros instead of 60 euros new. But the EK radiators are not that good as the Alpha Cool ones, as I found out later, because when you put in a screw it just rips out again if you don't have that much luck. And you have to use normal cutting screws, and that's not that pretty. And yeah, I also got myself a CPU block from Aqua Tuning then for 30 years instead of 120 euros on eBay, which is fully chrome. And yeah, the most important thing then is just to clean it slightly off so there's not any gunk trapped into the CPU block or even the GPU block. That's quite important, so you don't get color into your reservoir when you just want clear water or a specific color. And also just check the rubber on the CPU block so there's no chance of water dripping out of it when you just put water in there, because that would be quite a chance that that would actually be damaged as well as a used part. Now, but there were also quite some things I couldn't buy used, I meant, because I had to get them new, because like things like thermal paste you can't get used, some fittings are quite rare that you need and that you don't get them used as well. Also the pipes you needed for the water cooling are also not available to be used, because they could have been damaged and you need to cut your own length you need. So just buy a new one, it's not that expensive. And I also got myself a fan splitter for all the fans I'm gonna be mounting in the case. But the sad thing about this fan splitter is, from Phobia, you cannot run it in the fanless mode as I would have liked. Because I like it when my PC is totally silent when I'm doing nothing with it, and you just hear the pump humming about, just really silent. But you can't actually do that, the fans have to be running all the time because it gets energy by the Molex, and maybe I will be able to figure out some kind of resolution to actually get rid of that splitter and put a splitter in which actually has a fanless mode. If you know any splitters who have fanless modes, you can actually put it in the description so I can see what it is and how expensive it actually is. And yeah, that's about it for the water cooling parts. And now when it comes to the LEDs I actually put into the system, that's actually quite an easy part because I didn't want to do the standard thing, just get yourself a pack of Bitphoenix alchemy stripes in the color you want and buy hell of a money for it. So I actually just went off to the local building store where I just got myself an LED stripe, 5 meters long, RGB, and the most important thing is it needs to have 12 volts because 12 volts is the normal voltage that comes out of your PSU, out of the Molex ones. So you can actually just plug that one in with an adapter I built myself there. So I can actually just put in the normal LED controller onto the normal Molex so it just turns on automatically when the PC turns on. So I don't have to use the normal power brick that would have been with the LED stripe itself. And yeah, I didn't also cut the LED stripe, I just put the whole LED stripe down into the PSU cover to lit it up as well. And that ended up looking quite sick actually. Now because I'm a kind of guy who likes custom parts instead of things everybody can have by just buying them, I put in a motherboard back shield which actually just puts a little accent between the case itself and also the inside of the case with the white acrylic there. And I also built a PSU cover which you will be seeing later in the video. It's a little surprise, I don't want to spoil it right now. And I also built a little motherboard shield, so the motherboard plugs where you put in your USB devices and audio devices and maybe even video devices. It's also hidden by some acrylic. Just put some isolation tape on there and it looks even better just with some racing straps, I like to call them. And yeah, that looks actually quite good. Now because CD drives only come in the ugly grey color, I actually decided to paint my own one. So it just blends in nicely with the whole case. And another problem with the DVD or CD drives are that in the Obsidian cases from Corsair there are no real covers in front of them, so you can just see the blank one instead of a nice looking cover that just hides it away from your eyes. So I actually had to do that myself as well by using a slot cover and just dremeling off the back of it to glue it against the CD drive. So that blends in quite nicely and you can't even see that there is anything behind that. Now that I'm done with telling you all about the parts I put into the system, I prepared a little time lapse of me actually putting together my new system and also first disassembling my old one. And yeah, enjoy it!
Day has passed like a hurricane to my heart, till you're far away. See the lights on the other side. I'm going to get there and hope we will meet there. Am I sane for walking out on us? Or am I losing touch? Too many games, now all our chips are lost. Luck was not enough. I opened my eyes. Tonight I feel like waking to a better life. Tonight I feel like waking up. Tonight I feel like waking Now here we stand and hover on the edge. We're just a drop in time. I feel like gave you every breath I had. Even forgave your crimes. I opened my eyes. Tonight I feel like waking to a better
There was a time when you had me falling to the ground, like a king without a crown. Whoa. Why you make it hard? Don't let me down. You might as well be lost, but I'm found. I'm waiting for your love. You just keep me hanging on, and I deserve to stay, and I'll fight. You take the wrong and you make it right. Like a firefly, you're glowing at night. So don't make it hard, don't let me go. I wanna hold you tight when you're cold. I'm waiting for your love, you just keep me hanging on. I deserve to stay, and I will find my way. I will find my way.
Now, as you can see by the slowly decreasing video quality of the time-lapse, that build really took me very long to build. In fact, I stood up very early in the morning and stopped recording the build way after midnight. And yeah, that wasn't even the finished product yet, so because I had to do a cable management which took me half a day as well afterwards, and some minor improvements I did to the case again. So, quote unquote, that build took me about 2 days to finish, and about 30 minutes was it about it, just disassembling a normal PC I had. And before that, my old PC just took 1 hour to build, but the water cooling just takes so much time when you do it for the first time and want to do it as good as you can, also do some modding on it. It takes you very long. Now we'll be presenting to you some of the final shots I did from the build before fully going in with the benchmarks and everything, which you will be able to see at the end of the little showcase of the PC now, and yeah, enjoy it! Now that I actually got finished building the PC, I took it to some benchmarks. For example, I used Firestrike, where I got a score of 14,567. And yeah, that's it with the normal benchmarks, but then I took it to just some regular full HD, everything maxed out, 3-monitor gaming. For example, Forza Horizon 3 got a score of 55 FPS, everything maxed out on average. Just Cause 3 got 57 FPS, or everything maxed out again on average. PUBG just got 37 FPS because the engine is basically shit. And for all you younger gamers out there, I also benchmarked Minecraft there with everything maxed out again, and I got 70 FPS right there on 3 monitors in full HD. Now that I'm actually done building this machine, I just wanted to talk about how much it actually cost me, because only the hardware, so by that is meant the motherboard, the RAM, the CPU, the power supply, the graphics card, and everything in the case as well, is about 1,130 euros. Everything bought used, nothing is new there, and the water cooling parts themselves have cost me about 510 euros. Everything used as well, but some parts are new, not that many. About 50 euros I spent on new parts, but it's still very expensive because you can get the best air cooler on the market right now for about 60 to 80 euros used, which is the Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 3, and that's just a way better cost to performance ratio than you get with water cooling, but you don't get that awesome looks there. And yeah, the total cost of that build is just 1,640 euros, and yeah, the 3 monitors on my desk also cost me about 600 euros, so it's about 2,200 euros just for that. And that's quite expensive to spend on a PC and your monitors, so I don't think it's really what I should have done, but I still think it came out very good. So that's it with the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you'd like to see more of my videos, just subscribe to my channel and also comment if I should maybe do more English videos. And yeah, goodbye.